Hey guys, I'm really excited because I want to show you how I converted an old broken bicycle into a kick-ass electric bike. Now I want to show you how you can do that for just $135. So if you already own a bike and maybe some old batteries, then it's really cheap to turn virtually any bicycle into an electric bike. Just $135 and you can have an electric bike that is better than any of those complete e-bikes that cost well over $1,000. Now if you want a better battery like the one that I got, which will give you a longer range, then the price will jump to around $400. To convert a bicycle into an e-bike is actually a lot simpler and faster than I previously thought. That's all thanks to this e-bike conversion kit that I got from Amazon for $135. Now included in this kit you will get the 48 volt 1000 watt electric motor. The motor is already built into the wheel and it has a tire and tubes already installed. In the kit you will also get the electric controller that you use to connect all your wires. All the cables are included, also the throttle and the handbrakes. The only thing that is not included is, like I mentioned, the battery, and that's because you can use all sorts of batteries with this kit. So if you have an old car battery, for example, or maybe some smaller acid batteries for motorcycles, then you can actually use those. Now I decided to spend money on the latest in battery technology. These are lithium-ion batteries and are similar actually to the same batteries that are used in modern-day electric cars like Tesla. Now that's when things can get really pricey. That's because the smaller battery, like the one that I have here, will still cost you more than the whole electric motor kit. I paid for my battery $240 by ordering it on eBay. You can also find similar batteries all over the internet, but honestly, after spending 3 weeks looking for an affordable battery, the one I found was really the best deal. Similar batteries will easily cost you over $500. Now the one I got is 48 volts, which works directly with this e-bike kit. Now make sure whatever voltage you get, it matches the voltage on the motor you're using. My battery contains 12 amp hours, which right now gives me around 30 miles range or 48 kilometers. Now that's when riding the bike at medium speed of around 15 miles an hour or 24 kilometers an hour on even terrain. Now the range can vary drastically. If, for example, you're going up a lot of hills, then the battery will not last you as long. Or if you're constantly pushing the throttle to max. Same if you put a lot of weight on the bicycle. In my tests, it was usually me and my son riding. I'm 155 pounds, my son is around 25, so combined weight of around 180 pounds. If you get a battery with more amp hours, then it will increase your range. The motor itself goes pretty fast. On even ground, its top speed is around 30 miles an hour or 48 kilometers an hour. To install the whole kit, it will take about 2 hours. For me, it took a lot longer because the bicycle I used was an old piece of junk that basically didn't run at all. So I first had to disassemble most of it, clean it up, just so I could even see which parts needed replacing. And I actually ended up having to replace both wheels, which worked out great since, like I said, the motor kit already comes with a wheel. Now, some things to keep in mind is the kind of bicycle you will need. This kit comes with a motor and a wheel that is 26 inches, so make sure your bicycle has 26-inch wheels. Also, one thing I would highly recommend is that you get a bike with disc brakes, because when this electric bike goes full speed, then you really will want to have strong and reliable brakes. Since my bike didn't have them, I just had to install a pair that I bought on Amazon for $30. Another thing I would recommend is a bike with suspension, because again, going at higher speeds with an electric motor, you're going to feel each of the bumps in the road. If you don't already have a bicycle, then you can actually buy one on Amazon for around 180 bucks. That will work great with this electric motor. This bike already has installed disc brakes and it comes with dual suspension. In my case, I had to clean up my old bicycle and install the disc brakes. Plus, I had to replace a few other broken parts. Now, once the bike itself was fixed, then installing the electric motor was pretty fast. By the way, this kit is a purely rear wheel kit, which I think is great because let's say you want to pedal but your chain breaks or something like that, then the electric motor will still work since everything is contained inside the rear wheel. Now the one problem I had was when I tried to install the rear bicycle rack. That's because the wires that come out of the motor have bigger plugs and it simply would not fit through the bolt opening in the rack. So I just had to take a hacksaw and open a piece on the left side of the rack so I could fit the wires through. Then I would just tighten the two bike wheel bolts. After that, I installed the throttle on the bikes on the handlebars. You will need to use their handbrake levers, even if your bike is new and let's say it has great new working brakes. That's because the handbrakes that come with the kit have an electric sensor built into them. The way they work is that the second the brakes are pressed, it sends a signal to the electric box, and that cuts off the power to the motor. Now the last thing to do is to figure out where and how you're going to attach the controller box and the battery. I used a piece of aluminum that I got at Home Depot and drilled 2 holes in it to match the bolt openings on the controller box. Then to attach it to the bike rack, I just put the box on the side of the rack and the aluminum piece on the opposite side, and then I bolted the 2 pieces together. I did the same thing to the battery mounting plate. Then the last thing is to connect all the wires from the handbrakes, the throttle, the battery, and also from the motor into the electric controller. Now this is actually very easy because even on the manual that comes with the e-bike kit is horrible, you still can't really make a mistake connecting these since all the plugs are different types. So even if you wanted to incorrectly plug something in, you simply can't. The only thing to be careful with is when you're connecting the actual battery to the controller box. It's very simple. Plus goes to plus or wire, or red to red, and negative to negative. But just make sure you don't reverse these. I attached these 2 wires using simple twist-on wire connectors. The thing I love about the battery that I got is that it has a level meter, so it actually shows you when you're running low on power. Also, the battery has a key that is required to turn on the battery, and this is just an extra safety feature so that somebody doesn't steal your bike. Now once you have all of this connected, you're ready to go. So I've been using my new electric bike now for around 2 years, and everything still works great. I end up using the rear bike rack that comes with the kit to put my battery inside and to hide all the wires, and inside the pocket I put the controller box. In the other side pocket I keep my spare bike parts and my charger and extra tools that I need. This way the whole bike actually looks nicer and people don't even know that I have a battery in there. Also, most people don't realize that it's an actual electric bike since it still has regular pedals, and if you're running low on battery, you can help the motor by pedaling. The same if the battery completely dies on you. You can always get home by using the pedals. Of course, keep in mind that the whole bike is going to be heavier, so it takes a little bit more effort. In the end, I'm also happy that I installed the battery along with the motor in the back of the bike, because once I put the child seat in front, then the weight of the whole bike balances out. This seat that I got for my son is actually pretty awesome. I got it on Amazon for $73, and what I like about it is that unlike other rear-mounted child seats, this one allows me to see what my son is doing at any time. He also gets more excited because he's in the front and he feels like he sees everything that I see, and he's kind of in the middle of the action. He can look up at me also, he can interact with me since we're so close. I also ended up installing a front and a back light for the bike, which allows me to ride at night in pitch darkness. You can actually adjust the light beam, and the rear light has a continuous and flashing mode. In the front of the bike, I installed another bike rack, which allows me to rest my backpack on it when I go to take out food or to do some minor grocery shopping. Honestly, I think everyone should have one of these electric bikes, especially if you live in a place like, let's say, New York City or any other busy city where driving cars and then also finding parking for them is very difficult. Especially since in these big cities, you usually don't travel more than 30 miles a day. An electric bike is something that anyone can use without a driver's license. Also, you don't have to pay insurance or parking fees. Plus, it's clean energy and it's cheap energy. You can even take this bike to work, and even if you use up all of the battery, just plug it in while you're working, and in about 2 hours, you're gonna have a fully charged battery again. It's really the best way to get around a busy city. Anyways, hope you guys liked this video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and check out the links in the description to all the parts that I bought. Anyways, I'll see you on the streets. Bye.